Okay, hello everyone. Okay, so the next program in chapter 5 is conversion program. All right, so write a program that asks the user to enter a distance in meters. The program will then present the following menu of selections. So these are the options. These are the list. This is the list on the menu. So the first one is convert to kilograms. The second one is convert to inches. The third is convert to feet. Quit the program. So the program will convert the distance to kilometers, inches, or feet, depending on the user selection. Here are the specific requirements. So write a void method named showKilometers, which accepts the number of meters as an argument. The method should display the argument converted to kilometers. Convert the meters to kilometers using the following formula. So this is the formula for converting meters to kilometers. The second thing we have to do is to write another method called show inches, which is going to accept the number of meters as an argument. And the method should display the argument converted to inches. And this is the formula to do that. And the next one is we are going to convert meters to feet. It's going to accept feet. So it's going to accept meters as the argument. And the method is going to display the meters converted to feet. And this is the formula we are using for that. It also tells us to write a void method named menu that displays the menu of selections. Now this menu should not accept any argument. Okay, so we can do that. The program should continue to display the menu until the user enters 4 to quit the program. So we have a sentinel value here. The program should not accept negative numbers for the distance in meters. Okay, so we have some input validation also here. If the user selects an invalid choice from the menu, the program should display an error message. So we have more input validation. And this is an example of how the program should look like. So it's going to say enter a distance in meters. The user is going to enter 500, and then the menu is going to be displayed to the user. And then a question is going to be asked to the user. It's going to say enter your choice. The user enters 1, okay, to convert that 500 to kilometers later. So if the user selects 1, for example, it's going to display the output. 500 meters is 0.5 kilometers, and then the option is going to the menu is going to be displayed to the user again. If the user selects 3, for example, over here, like he or she has 500 meters is 1,640.5 feet, and then the menu is going to be displayed again, and then it's going to ask the user to enter another choice, and the user enters 4. Now 4 is a sentinel. If the user selects 4, remember 4 is to quit the program. So if the user selects 4, the program should say bye, and then exit. Okay. All right. Sorry about the cough. All right. So I'll go ahead and start the program, and it will make more sense once we are coding it. So I'll go ahead and create a class, and then I'll call this conversion program. And I'll create the main method. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So over here, the first line of the question says, write a program that asks the user to enter a distance in meters. So we know that we are going to ask the user to enter a distance in meters. So since we're going to be asking for user input, we have to use one of Java's features for accepting user input. So for this question, I'm going to use the scanner class. Now I can choose to use the JOption pane. I'm just choosing to use the scanner. Okay. All right, so to use this scanner, we have to import it. We have to import the class so that this program can have access to it. So to import the scanner, we have to type import java.util.scanner. Now, by typing this statement, we have included or we have imported the scanner class, so this program has access to it. So now that we've imported the scanner class, we have to go ahead and create a scanner object. So we can use the scanner object to accept input from the user. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Create a scanner object. I'm going to call it scanner, and I'm going to create a new scanner object in memory. I'm going to pass in the system.in method, which is going to accept byte info from the keyboard, and it's going to connect it to the scanner object over here. We can then use the methods in the scanner class to convert whatever we've accepted from the user. Okay, we can convert it to int or integers or doubles or whatever we want it to be in. Okay, so now we have the scanner. We can go ahead and ask the user to enter something. Now it says write a program that asks the user to enter a distance in meters. Right, so we're going to ask the user to enter a distance in meters. Right. What we can do is, since we are working, the program didn't say we should create a method for asking the user to enter the distance, right? The program didn't do that. But let's see. But we can just create a method that's going to just display a question. We can just do that. A method that's going to go ahead and display a question. Or maybe not, because we can have variations of the question. So maybe not. But if you want, we can do that, right? If you want, we can do that. It's not going to affect anything. Okay, so in main method, let's go ahead and do that. So it's write a method that's going to ask the user to enter a distance in meters, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Let's ask the user to enter a distance in meters. So I'm going to go ahead and type the system.out.println statement, and I'm going to go ahead and ask the user to please enter distance in meters here. So this question is going to be asked. The user is going to see this, and I'm going to go ahead and use the scanner object over here, the one that I just created. I'm going to use it to, first of all, I'm going to type in scanner.next double. So this scanner.next double is going to pop up a text box. Okay, it's going to allow the user to type in something, and whatever the user is going to type is going to be returned. Okay, first of all, it's going to be converted into a double and then returned. Okay, so whatever the user types is going to be converted to a double and returned. Now, when it's returned, we need a place to store it. So I'm going to come up here and declare a variable to hold that result. So I'm going to, since it's going to, the user is going to type in something, and whatever the user types is going to be converted to a double. I need a double variable to hold whatever is going to be returned, right? So I'm going to define it as a double and name it user meters, right? User meters is basically a variable that's going to hold the meters or the number of meters, that basically the meters that the user entered. That's why I call it user meters, but you can call it anything. So user meters is going to now hold what the user typed, okay, which has been converted to a double and returned. So it's going to hold, the user meters is going to hold that. Okay, so let's move on. The program will then present the following menu of selections. So we're going to present this menu of selections and say the program will convert. It says the program will convert the distance to kilometers, inches, or feet, depending on the user selection. Here are the specific requirements. So we have the requirements over here. But when we come down here, it says, the first option says, the first bullet says, write a void method named menu that displays the menu of selections. This method should not accept any argument. So we're going to create a method. We're going to create a method. It's going to be a void method over here. Write a void method named, oh no, that's different. Over here, write a void method named menu that displays the menu of selections. This method should not accept any argument. So we're going to create a method called menu, which is going to display the menu of selections, which is this, basically this list. And it's not going to accept any argument. Okay, so in the previous chapter 5 videos, I mentioned that some people create their methods right below the main method. Okay, right below the main method here, and it still works. If you define or declare your methods or create your methods right under the main method, it's still going to work. As soon as you declare your methods or define them or create them, they are available even if you call them in main. They are available. But I'm going to go ahead and create mine above the main method. It still works. I like to do that sometimes. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to create mine above the main method. So I'm going to go ahead and create a public static method. Now it's going to be a public method because this method is going to be available to code outside this class. It's a static method because this method belongs to this class. Now the program said write a void method, meaning that method is not returning anything. It's not returning anything. So because it's not returning anything, I'm going to define or set the return type to void because it's not returning anything. It's returning void. It's returning nothing. And the program said we should define over here. We should define the method as menu. We should call it menu. Write a method named menu. Okay, so I'm going to call the method menu. Now the program said that, the bullet said that this method should not accept any argument. So it's not accepting any argument. All it's doing is it's printing this list. So I'm going to just go ahead and call a system.out.println statement, and it's going to print out that. So the first option I want to print is 1 convert to kilometers. And then I'm going to call or type the new line character. So the \n together is the new line character. When the interpreter sees this \n, it creates a new line. It takes the cursor from the end of S to a new line. Basically, once S is printed, once kilometers is printed, S is printed, it's going to take the cursor from over here to the next line. And anything that comes after this new line character is going to be displayed on that next line. So the \n together is the new line character, and it creates a new line. Okay, so now I'm on the next line. So I've created a new line, so I'm on the next line basically. So I'm going to type in the second option, which is convert to inches. And then I'm going to create another new line, and then the next option, which is convert to feet. And another new line, and quit the program, which is going to be the fourth option. And then I'm going to end it with a new line. Okay, so basically that's what this method is going to do once it's called. Once menu is called, menu is going to print out this option. All right, let's continue. So the program says the method should accept. Well, actually, we can go ahead and define these methods as well. I don't even know why I skipped it, but well, I didn't necessarily skip it. I just did jumped here first because over here the program mentioned that we have to present the following menu of selections. I didn't want to just display this in main. I wanted to create that method first. But let's go ahead and define these methods also. The program says write a void method named showKilometers, which accepts the number of meters as an argument. The method should display the argument converted to kilometers. Convert the meters to kilometers using the following formula. So this is the formula. So let's start. We're writing a void method, meaning it returns nothing. We're going to name it showKilometers. It's going to accept the number of meters as an argument, and it's going to basically display. It's not going to return anything. Okay, it returned void, but it's going to display the argument, which is basically the meters converted to kilometers. So I'm going to create another method after the after the menu method. I'm going to create a public static method. It's a void method because it's returning nothing. Over here it says write a void method named showKilometers. So it's a void method. It returns nothing. The method is named showKilometers. The program said that, or the question said over here that over here, where is it? Okay. It says which accepts the number of meters as an argument. So showKilometers is going to accept the number of meters as an argument. So I'm going to define a double parameter. Since it's going to accept an argument, I'm going to define a double parameter. A double because The number of meters the user types can be, let's say, 50.5 meters, right? It can be a double, it can be a decimal. So I'm going to define the parameter as a double, and I'm going to call it user meters, right? Because the user has to provide this user meters argument before this show kilometers method works properly, because it needs the user it needs this argument for the function to, or for the method to act well or act properly. Okay, so when the user meters is provided, the method over here says the method should display the argument converted to kilometers. Okay, now we need to convert the argument, the user meters, to kilometers, and it says we should convert the meters to kilometers using the following formula. So we are going to first of all convert these meters to kilometers. So I'm going to go ahead and define a variable called kilometers, which is going to hold basically the kilometers. Now double, because the kilometers, when this is converted to kilometers, it can be a double. It can be 225.0, or it could be a decimal. So that's why I'm defining it as a double. Once I've sorry about the cough. Once I've defined the kilometers variable, I'm going to store the conversion. Okay, I'm going to store user meters converted to kilometers in the kilometers variable, and the formula to do that is kilometers over here. Kilometers is equal to meters times 0.001. Okay, so kilometers is going to be equal to the user meters. Okay, the meters that the user typed, times 0.001 over here. So 0.001. Okay, so basically we're going to calculate that. Now the program doesn't want us to return it. It wants us to, the method should over here convert the meters to kilometers over here, and it says the method should display the argument converted to kilometers. We are only displaying it, we are not returning it. So after calculating the kilometers over here, we want to go ahead and display the kilometers. So system out.println, I want to go ahead and display kilometers. But over here, when this was displayed, it said 500 meters is 0.5 kilometers. Now, where is it? In the kilometers, we don't want to just display the kilometers variable. We want to go ahead and say the user meters. So user meters, basically the value that the user type, user meters, I'm going to concatenate it with a string and say user meters converted to kilometers is, and then now we want to go ahead and display sorry, we want to go ahead and display the kilometers, basically what the user type converted to kilometers. Now we can go ahead and format this. We should go ahead and format it, because we don't want it anything. We don't want, a number with lots of decimal places. So let's go ahead and use a printf format instead of the println. So printf, and we want to first specify the format. The format. So I'm going to delete all of that and say I'm going to go ahead and first create the format specifier. So the first thing I want to display is user meters, right? I'm going to say user meters converted to kilometers is going to be just kilometers. So the first format specifier I want to create is, since user meters is a float, a double, or basically a float, I'm going to type in %f. %f is basically kind of like a placeholder. Now I'm specifying the format. I want it formatted to 2 decimal places, and I want, basically that's it. I want to format it to 2 decimal places as a float. So I'm basically creating a string here, but over here I'm specifying a format, and I'm going to pass in a couple of arguments here as a second argument of the system.out.printf function or method, which is going to replace whatever arguments I specify here is going to replace whatever format specifiers I have in the string respectively. So I'm going to say %.2f. Now I'm typing 0.2 as a precision in between the percentage and then the f. 0.2 in between the percentage and the f. 0.2 is the precision. So that number that is going to replace this format specifier is going to be rounded to 2 decimal places as a float. So I'm going to say that percentage F converted to kilometers is, now I want to go ahead and specify another format. So basically user so basically kilometers, the kilometers variable, the content of the kilometers variable is going to replace this next format specifier that I'm about to type. So since the kilometers variable can contain a float, I'm also going to specify percentage F as a float. I want to format it as a float. I want it formatted to 2 decimal places, so 0.2. If I wanted it formatted to 3 decimal places, I would say 0.3. Now I want it formatted to 2 decimal places, so I'll say 0.2 here. Okay, I'm putting the precision in between the percentage and then the F, so 0.2. That's the precision. So basically, I have 2 format specifiers, this and this, in the string. Now I'm going to provide a couple of variables that are going to replace these 2 format specifiers that I just created. So the first one, which is, so the variables are going to replace the format specifiers respectively. So the first variable I put here is going to replace this value formatted, and the second variable that I put over here, or I type over here, is going to replace the second format specifier. So over here I want user meters to replace it. So user meters is going to replace that, and then the second one I want kilometers to replace it. Okay, so user meters is going to replace this format specifier, and kilometers is going to replace this format specifier, all formatted the way I've specified it. All right, so we know when we call show kilometers is going to work. Okay, now sorry about the cough. The program wants us to also create another method called show inches. It's also going to return void. It's going to accept the number of meters as an argument. So just like the first one, and the method should now display the argument converted to inches. And we're going to convert the meters to inches using the formula here. We've been given the formula. So it's just like the first one we created, just like the show kilometers method. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it and change it. So it's going to be a public static void method. Instead of show kilometers, show kilometers is going to be show inches, right? So it's going to be show inches, and it's going to accept the meters that the person types. We are going to define a variable called inches. I'll just do inches here. Now inches is going to be equal to the formula that we were given over here. Inches is going to be equal to the user meters times 39.37. So inches is going to be equal to the user meters times 39.37. And then now we want to go ahead and print out the same formatting. We want to say user meters converted to inches now is not kilometers but inches. What's stored in an inches variable. Okay. Now the third method we have to create is show feet. It's going to be a void method like these two. It's going to accept the number of meters as an argument. So just like the first two, the method should display the argument converted to feet. We have to convert the meters to feet using the following formula. We've been given the formula here. So it's just like the first two methods. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it and change it. So it's going to be a public static void method. Instead of show inches, it's going to be show feet. So I'm going to rename this to show feet. It's going to accept the user meters as an argument. We're going to, because we are finding feet, we're going to declare a feet variable. Feet is going to be equal to the user meters times basically the formula they gave us over here. So this is feet. So it's the user meters times 3.281. So the user meters times 3.281. Okay, so 3.281. Okay. And then now we want to go ahead and print out So whatever is going to replace this converted to feet this time around is whatever is going to replace this. For the first variable, we want user meters to replace this, and then we want feet to replace this format specifier. So now we've created 3 methods plus a menu method, which is going to display just the options in the 3 methods. We have our main method here. Let's see what we have to do next. We've done all of this. We've written the menu method over here. Okay, now it says the program should continue to display the menu until the user enters 4 to quit the program. Okay, so the program should continue to display the menu until the user hits 4 to quit the program. So we know our sentinel value is 4, right? So in the main method, I'm going to declare a variable called sentinel. And sentinel is the value that, for example, when the user, so in this case, our sentinel value is going to be 4 because when the user selects 4, the program quits. Okay, so if the value is not equal to the sentinel, we're going to create a loop that's going to keep showing the menu to the person. Which is going to basically keep the program running. It's not going to quit the program. It's going to keep the program running. If the user doesn't select 4, keep the program running. So the program over here, the question says, the program should continue to display the menu until the user enters 4 to quit the program. So let's do that. So first of all, we want to go ahead and display the menu, right? Since we have the menu method here, we can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just call the menu method. Okay, it doesn't accept any arguments. So just by doing this, I'm displaying the menu. I want to first of all display the menu, and I want to, because this is how the program runs. Let me see the output. So we're going to first ask the user over here. We've asked the user to enter the distance in meters, right? So that's the question here. The user types in something, and we display the options to the user. Over here, we display the options to the user. So that's what we've done. We've gone ahead to ask the user and display the menu, right? And the program says we should basically keep showing the menu to the user if they haven't selected 4. All right. We should continue to display the menu until the user enters 4 to quit the program. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to create a while loop. Okay, and say, first of all, let me go ahead and create the structure. And I'm going to say, well, I wanted to declare a variable called sentinel, which is going to hold the value 4, which is going to be our sentinel. Sentinel is the value that when they select, the program quits. So I'm going to define a value which is going to be an integer because the number 4 is an integer. So int sentinel is going to be equal to 4. Okay, so we have 4 here. So I'm going to say while, well, over here, no, over here, while, over here, after we've asked the user to, let's see. Once we, actually we have to go ahead and ask the user to enter a choice first, because the choice is what we are checking on to see. Okay, the choice is what we are checking on to see. So after we've asked the user to enter the number of meters or the distance in meters, we're going to show the user the menu, right? And we are also going to we're going to ask the user to enter a choice. After showing the menu to the user, we want to ask the user to enter a choice. See over here, they ask the user to enter the distance in the meters. They show the menu to the user, and then they ask the user to enter a choice. So we're going to do the same thing by just, I copy the system.out.println statement. So we're asking the user to enter a choice. So please enter, or basically enter a choice. Let's see. That's what it said, right? Enter your choice. Enter your choice. And once this question is just displayed to the user, we have to provide some kind of text box or some kind of input object so that the user can type in something, right? So I'm going to use the scanner that I created above here to prompt for input. So scanner.nextInt. I'm going to basically, no, I don't have to do that. I'm going to basically call this scanner.nextInt method, which is going to basically pop up a text box and allow the user to type in something. Whatever the user types is going to be converted to an integer and then returned. And once it's returned, I need a place to store it. So I'm going to come up to main over here. Declare a variable is going to be an integer because the user is going to enter an integer, or can enter an integer. Actually, we're asking to enter a choice out of these 4. So the user is going to enter an integer. We are asking the user to enter an integer. So I'm going to declare a variable to hold that. So int, I'm going to call it user choice. User choice is going to hold what the choice that the user selects. So user choice is now going to store what the user selects over here. Okay. And now we can go ahead and create a while loop. Okay. So we're going to say while. Okay. Let me first go ahead and create a structure like I did before, and say I'm going to say while the user choice, okay, is not equal to, okay. once I type in this exclamation sign means not, okay. So while user choice is not equal to, okay, sentinel, which is sentinel has a value of 4. Okay, sentinel has a value of 4. So while the user choice is not equal to 4, keep doing what the program said we should do. Over here, the program said the program should continue to display the menu until the user enters 4 to quit the program. Okay, so we should continue to display the menu, right? So over here, I'm going to go ahead and display the menu. While the user choice is not equal to 4, go ahead and display the menu, right? We've done that. We've done exactly what the question said. The program should continue to display the menu until the user enters 4 to quit the program. And then over here it says the program should not accept negative numbers for the distance in meters. The program should not accept negative numbers for the distance in meters over here. So where are we asking? I'm asking for the distance in meters. This is the first time we're asking for the distance in meters over here. Okay. We have to check to see if what the user typed over here, user meters, is not less than 0, because anything less than 0 is negative, right? So after we've accepted the input here in user meters, we want to go ahead and check to see if what the user typed is less than 0. So over here I'm going to say while, okay, I'm going to create another while loop for input validation and say while the user meters is less than 0. Basically, if the user has typed in something and it's less than 0, while it's less than 0, keep asking the user again. We can even change the message this time around. Go ahead and ask the user again to basically, you can change the message and say, please enter a valid or a positive number for distance. Okay. So we are going to ask the user for the first time. We are going to accept what the user types over here. We are checking to see if the user meters is less than 0. So while the user meters is less than 0, keep asking the user to enter the correct value. This time around, we are changing the message a little bit and saying, please enter a positive number for distance. Over here, we said, please enter the distance in meters. Over here, we're saying, while it's less than 0, meaning while it's negative, please enter a positive number for distance. And we have to accept it. Okay, we have to accept what the user types again. So we're going to store what the user types again in the variable user meters. And we're going to, the loop is going to go back. So if the user types in something else, it's going to be stored here. And the loop is going to go back up here to check if the user meters is still less than 0. If it's still less than 0, then it's going to keep running this loop and asking the user to type in the correct one. If the user types in a positive number and it comes up here and says while the user meters is less than 0, okay, now that if the user types in a positive number, that number wouldn't be less than 0. It will be a positive number. In that case, then this loop will exit and go ahead and show the user the menu, and then display, I'll ask the user to enter a choice. The user is going to type in a choice over here, and then we're going to check to see if the choice is not equal to the sentinel. If the choice is not equal to 4, then that means the user wants to basically the user wants to basically let's see. Then that means the user wants to basically display the user wants to basically do a conversion, right? Because these are the options. If the option is not 4, then the user wants to basically do 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so we're going to display because I think what I'm worried about is we've displayed this twice. So we're going to display this, enter a choice. Over here, we're just checking. We are just checking to see. Let's see. Okay, if it's not equal to sentinel, no, we'll fix this. While it's not equal to sentinel, we're going to display the message. Let me see how it was displayed over here. So we are over here asking for the meters, and we are showing the menu. But first of all, we are checking the meters. Okay, so if the meters is good, then we want to go ahead and show the menu and ask the user to enter a choice and get the choice. And we are checking to see if the user choice is not less than if it's not equal to sentinel. If it's not equal to sentinel, then we want to go ahead and check to see if it's not equal to the sentinel. We want to go ahead and check to see. Okay, so over here we've displayed the menu for the first time. Over here we've done that. Then we want to go ahead and check to see what number, well, basically what choice they selected. So I'm going to create an if statement in this while loop and say because if the user choice is not equal to sentinel, if the user choice is not equal to 4, okay, then it's either 1, 2, or 3. So let's check to see what they selected. So if the user choice over here is equal to, now I'm using double equals to compare. I'm using double equals to compare to say is what on the right, okay, is what on the right equal to what on the left. Okay, I'm not using 1 equal. If I use 1 equal, I'm just saying, were you able to assign what's on the right to what's on the left? 1 equal is going to assign what's on the right to what's on the left. Using 2 equals is basically comparing to see if what's on the right is equal to what's on the left, right? So I'm saying is if the user choice is equal to 1, then that means that the user wants to convert to kilometers. So in that case, I'm going to basically call the kilometers, showKilometers method and pass in the user meters. So I'm going to basically call showKilometers. If the user wants to convert to kilometers, I'm going to call the showKilometers method over here. And I'm going to pass in the user meters because we will have it stored over here in user meters. If it's not negative, it's not going to be negative once it gets here. The number has to be negative for the program to continue. So we are going to call the showKilometers method and then pass in the user meters, and this is going to basically display the message. This user meters converted to meters is the meters that was basically the answer, the conversion of this number to kilometers. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say else if. Okay, what if the user choice is not equal to 1? So else if the user choice is equal to 2, then we want to go ahead and show the option 2 is inches. So we want to go ahead and show inches over here, right? And then we're going to call the showInches method, and it's going to accept again the user meters here, and it's basically going to just show it. And then we're going to say else if the user choice is equal to 3, then we want to go ahead. We want to go ahead and convert to feet. That's number 3. So in that case, then show feet and pass in the user meters. So in that case, show feet, I'm going to pass in the user meters here, like this. Now, if it's equal to 4, of course, this while loop is going to exit. Okay, it's not even. It's not even going to run in the first place. While the user choice is not equal to Sentinel, that's the only time this is going to run. But if it's equal to the Sentinel, this while loop is not even going to run even once. Now the program over here says the program should not accept negative numbers for distance in meters. We've done that. It says if the user selects an invalid choice from the menu, the program should display an error message. So if the number is 1, it's going to do this. If it's 2, it's going to show the inches. If it's 3, it's going to show feet. If it's 4, then it's going to quit. This loop is not even going to run. If it's 5, now this is going to run as long as the user choice is not equal to 4. Now 5 is not equal to 4, so this loop will run. But if it's 5, these options that does not include 5. So we're going to say else then whatever the user types. Okay, meaning if it's not 1, if it's not 2, if it's not 3. If it's 4, we know that this loop is not going to run. But if it's anything else, we want to go ahead and display a message, an error message to say. We can even go ahead and say and create a method for that. Okay, we can go ahead and create a method for that and say, I mean, it wasn't part of the question, but I'm just going ahead to create it. I'll go ahead and create a public static method. It's going to return nothing. It's just going to show a message. I'm going to call it show error. Okay, now this method is just going to show an error message. And it's not going to accept any arguments. It's just going to go ahead and basically display an error message. So I'm going to type the system.out.println and display a message and say, please enter. I'm going to say please enter. I'm going to say first out an error message. So error, please choose a valid option. So I can change this error message to something specific and say what I can do is I can actually customize the error message. It's a good way to do it. I can customize the error message so that when I call show error, this error is still going to show, but the message will be different. So I'm going to pass in the error as it's basically like a system.out.println statement. This is just a bit more customized because it shows error. So I'm going to accept in an error message, which is going to be a string. Okay, so this is it's not going to return anything. It's just going to show the message. So I'm going to first of all accept a parameter, an argument. So I'm going to define a parameter called error message. Okay, I'm going to call it error message. It's going to be a string, and over here I'm going to concatenate what the error message the user typed. So I'm going to say error, and I'm going to concatenate it with the error message the user typed here. Okay, so I'm displaying error concatenated with the error message the user typed. And over here, if the user types in anything other than 1, 2, 3, if it's 4, we know the loop is going to not going to run. Okay, because that's a sentinel. But if it's any other number, then we want to go ahead and call the show message method. Show error message over here. Show error method over here. So I'm going to go ahead and call it show error, and it's going to accept an argument. An argument is the error message. I want to show this particular error saying, please enter a valid entry, or please choose a valid option. So now this string is going to replace this string over here. So it's going to say error, and it's going to basically display my error message. So it's a good way to customize methods. All right, so while that's the case, let's see. So let's see how the program was running. So after the user has basically typed in or chosen this option, and this has been printed, this meters has been printed. Let's see. Then we want to go ahead and display this. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. Let me just go through this. See if it's makes sense. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So basically, if the user selects in 1, it's going to show the kilometers. Over here, we could see that it showed the kilometers. 500 meters is 0.5 kilometers, and it showed the option, the menu again. Right, so that's what this bullet meant. The program should continue to display the menu until the user enters 4 to quit the program. Okay, so after it's done displaying, so if the choice is 1, it's going to go ahead and show kilometers. If it's 2, it's going to show inches. If it's 3, it's going to show feet. If it's not any 1, 2, or 3, we know when it's 4, the loop is not going to even exit. The loop is not going to even run. It's going to exit. Actually, it's not even going to run. It's not even going to be entered for it to exit. So the loop is not going to run. It's going to be skipped. And then we know that when the user selects types in anything other than 1, 2, 3, 4, the options, this message is going to be displayed. Please choose a valid option. And after that, we want to go ahead and display the menu again. So I'm going to display the menu again. And I don't have to put too many lines. All right. So I'm going to display the menu again. Once I display the menu, I want to give the user a chance to enter the choice again. So I'm going to display this message again, and then allow the user to, I'm going to accept what the user typed, which is the option. So I'm going to place that right under it. I'm going to display the menu, allow the user to enter a choice, accept that choice, and then it's going to go back up here and check to see if that choice is equal to if that choice is not equal to it's 4. Basically 4 is a sentinel. If it's not equal to 4, now if it's equal to 4, then this loop is going to exit, right? And guess what? When it exits, it says basically when the user chooses 4, the program says bye. When this while loop, when it gets to the head of this while loop and it checks to see if the user choice is not equal to sentinel, okay, it's going to do what's in. If it's true, if the user choice is not equal to sentinel, it's going to do what's in the while loop. But if the user choice is equal to sentinel, it's going to exit out. It's not even going to run this while loop. It's just going to skip this while loop and continue with any code below it. Okay, so if it's equal to 4, all we want to do is we want to display bye. Okay, system.out.println. And then we don't need an if statement to check to see if anything. We just print bye, because this statement will run only if the user choice is equal to 4, and when it's 4, the user wants to quit. So we want to go ahead and display the message bye, like we've seen here. If the choice is 4, the user hits enter, it displays bye. So let's see if this is logical. All right. So at first we're going to ask the user to enter. Well, first of all, let's check to see if the instructions are done. It looks like we're done. All right. Okay. So we defined our methods over here: the menu, show kilometers, show inches, show feet. This show arrow is optional. I just did it just to make since we are dealing with methods, I just wanted to add a few more. This is the main method. First of all, we are asking the user to enter a distance, and that's what the question is doing. We are asking for the distance. The user types in the distance. We are showing the menu. So the user types in the sorry for all that. The user types in the distance. We are first of all checking to see the meters that the user types is non-negative. Okay, because the question said that the program should not accept negative numbers for the distance in meters. So we are checking to see over here if the user message is not negative. If it's negative, it's going to keep asking the user using this while loop. If that number is not negative, and the user types in, let's say, 500, we're going to display the menu over here, and then ask the user to enter a choice. So if it's not equal to negative, you're going to display the menu and ask the user to enter a choice and accept the choice and check to see if that choice is not equal to the sentinel, not equal to 4. If it's not equal to 4, that means the user has chosen either 1, 2, 3, or another number other than 4. If that number is 1, we want to show the kilometers of the user meters. Basically show user meters converted to kilometers. If the choice is 2, we want to show user meters converted to inches. If the number is 3, we want to show the user meters converted to feet. If the number is anything other than 1, 2, or 3, now we know that when the user choice is 4, this loop is not even going to run. It's going to exit out of it's going to skip this while loop and show this message by. That means the user has selected 4. Okay, when it's 4, the user wants to quit. So we're going to skip this while loop and then display this message by. But if that number is anything other than 1, 2, 3, okay, definitely not 4. Okay, if it's 4, we know it's skipping this while loop. But if it's, let's say, 5 or anything any number other than 1, 2, 3, or 4, then we're going to display an error message. Please choose a valid option. Now this show error method is something we define ourselves over here. We saw that, and we are passing in our custom string, custom message, and we're going to display the message valid option. Please choose a valid option, and then display the menu again. Over here, after showing if the choice is either 1, 2, or 3, and after showing the conversion, we are still going to keep asking the user to select a choice. And first of all, show them the menu, and then ask them to select a choice. They're going to accept the choice and then go back and check to see what that choice is, and then repeat this over and over again. If the user selects 4, this while loop is going to skip and then display by. So this program looks logical. So let's try it and see what happens. Let's try it and see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and compile this and create a new folder for this one. I'm going to call it what's the name of this one? I think it's a name, conversion program. Okay, so call this conversion program, and I'll create this here. So we don't have any errors. So let's run this and see what happens, and see if it's basically how the other program is. So let's roll this all the way up and see if it looks just like this. So I'm going to run this. So enter a distance in meters. Please enter the distance in meters. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. I'm going to go ahead and enter a negative number and see what happens. -5, and hit enter. Now it says please enter. So now I was able to tell that it was negative. So it says please enter a positive number for distance. I'm going to enter -5 again. It says please enter a positive number for distance. Now when I enter 500 and I hit enter, now it says where is it? It didn't. Okay, now I hit 500, so it's working. I thought it wasn't working. So I hit 500 over here. Enter a distance in meters. I hit 500, and it says it basically showed me the options. Convert to kilometers. Basically showed me the options. I just need to put a space here, and now it says enter your choice. So I'm now here. I'm entering my choice. I'm going to type in 1, and I'm expecting to see 500 meters is 0.5 kilometers. When I hit enter, now it says over here 500. I'm supposed to put meters here, so 500, and I made it a double. That's why it's looking like this. But 500 converted to kilometers is 0.501. Where is it? 0.5, because I was converting to, I think, 3 decimal places, and that's why. Over here I was converting to, so let me fix a few things. First let me put a space in the options over here. So I need to put a space here. I'll fix that. And I probably need to round it. I'm going to leave this because the user can type in a double over here, and this is what I need to round over here. Remember, I think I was showing an example and I left it at 0.3. Let's see, where is it? All right, so this is kilometers, right? Show kilometers. Okay, so I didn't leave it as 0.3. Over here, kilometers, I'm rounding to 0.2 decimal places. Oh, okay, so this is just showing me the beginning of the. So you see number 1 convert to kilometers is showing me the option. So when I'm done basically displaying these answers, I want to end it with a new line character, right? So when I'm done displaying the string, I want to go ahead and end it with a new line character. So I'm going to type in \n. Now I think I explained it. I'm not sure. I did explain it here. So I'm going to create a new line character here after I've displayed the result. So let's fix that for all three of them, so that we at least have, because I thought this was 0.501. It's actually 0.50, but I think the question, based on the display, they rounded to 1 decimal place for, no, not 1 decimal place. I think they left it for all of them. They left it. All right, so they rounded it to actually one decimal place over here. I'm sorry. See, 0.5 over here. They rounded it to 1 decimal place. So let's do that. Let's round to 1 decimal place so that it looks exactly like as the question. So instead of rounding to 2 decimal places, I'm going to round to 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place. Okay, so now we fixed a bunch of stuff. I mean, it should look close to what we have here. So I'm going to just try to emulate this test. So we're going to enter a distance in meters. When I run it, that's what you say. Enter a distance. I'm going to put in 500, and it says convert to kilometers. So this is the option it's showing me. These are the options it's showing me. I'm going to enter a choice. I'm going to choose 1 and hit enter. Now it says 5, and now this is a double. That's why I declared it as a double. That's why. So it says 500 converted to kilometers is 0.5. So I should have added meters to it, but we can do that later on. So 500 converted to kilometers is 0.5, and we can see over here they just added a string meters to it. So 500 meters is 0.5 kilometers. You can do the same thing, but we can see it's working. And then it shows a list again. So after that, we want to create another space, right? We want to create another space after that, so that we have, a nice clean view. So let's do that. Let's just do that to make this look good. So we want 2 line breaks after each of them. And over here, I'm just going to add, this is meters, right? So meters. So it's going to say whatever meters converted to, basically the user meters converted to kilometers, inches, or feet. Okay, is whatever the answer is. So now we've added some modifications. Let's run it and see. Again, we want to try to emulate the test over here. So 500 was typed here. I've typed the distance. These are the options. I'm going to type in 1 and hit enter. Now it says 500 meters. Now this is a double, like I said. I defined it as a double, that's why. But it's still working. 500 meters converted to kilometers is 0.5 kilometers. It shows me the options again. I'm going to enter another choice of 3, and I'm expecting 500 meters is 1640.5 feet. So I'm going to hit enter, and I can see it says 500 meters converted to feet is 1640.5. Okay, I mean that's the same as this statement. It's just another variation. It shows me the option again. I type in 4 this time around, and when I hit 4, it should say bye. So when I hit 4 and I hit enter, now it says bye, just like this program did. All right, so this program is working. Let's just test for. We didn't test for inches. Let's just do that really quick just to see if it's working. So I'm going to enter 500, and I'm going to enter for inches, right? So 2 and hit enter. Now it says 500 meters converted to inches is 19685.0. So we can see this is also working. I'm going to enter 4 as my choice, and now it says bye. Okay, so this program is working. If you have any questions, please comment down below, and I'll do everything to respond to them. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time with the next program. All right, bye-bye.